What's up, guys? We are back with another Star Wars Black Series review, taking a look at the latest in deluxe figures and probably one of the more anticipated releases of the year, the deluxe Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. So I am an unapologetic Mando fan from start to finish. Love me some Boba Fett stuff, and this figure is kind of overdue. We've had that first Boba Fett for so long, and he's been painted up however many different ways now. But this is a specific colorway that, of course, we never got, with many changes to the design, not to mention the fact that this is an updated figure with the more current articulation scheme. So there's a lot going on with this package outside of the fact that it's also a deluxe release. So we've got him here in the standard style package for the line. Of course, this is a deluxe figure, so it's a wider format box, but it's still got that new sort of trapezoidal shape. So figure in the window, we've got the green banding color for the Return of the Jedi line. You've got artwork down the spine, and then the back of the box has a small little write-up for Boba and then a larger shot of some of that artwork. So yeah, let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Return of the Jedi Deluxe Boba Fett. So this is definitely an upgrade from that first figure for sure. There are a lot of changes here, and in a general sense, I'm really happy with what we have going on here. I have long wanted just another take on Boba Fett. I've wanted them to go back and give us another figure that can do a little bit more. Because while that figure looks really good, he doesn't move all that well. He's still very much a product of that time of the Black Series. So this guy is something that I've been really looking forward to. So let's get started, see what he can do, see how he moves around. There is a bit going on here. So we've got a head that can look up, and he can look down super far. And then you've got really good tilt side to side and in full rotation. This is mostly due to how well that neck moves. So the neck is independently articulated as well, and it's going to move all the way around with the figure. The arms go out at the shoulders, and you've got the rubbery shoulder pads here that are connected to the overlay for the chest. They don't really get in the way, but just be aware that they are situated over top of the arms. They aren't connected to the arms. The arms will go forward and backward. You do have to watch out for the cape. You've got to watch out for the jetpack as well. There is a butterfly joint in there, ever so slight butterfly joint. You can see it on the inside, but it doesn't really do anything because of his construction. I'm assuming it's just a situation with some shared parts. We've got our newer style deep cut single jointed elbow, so he goes a little bit better than 90 degrees as far as that bend. And then you've got rotation. He's also got this little sort of cuff that sits over top of his arm right here that will also swivel. So you've got the swivel of the cuff, swivel of the elbow, and then the actual gauntlet will swivel as well to help get it out of the way when you want to make that deeper cut with the elbow. So that's really nice. You've got lateral hinges and rotation at the wrist on the left side, your right, and then we've got vertical hinge on his right, your left. The chest is a overlay. Like I've already said, it's an overlay on top of a buck. So you've got a cut that's like right around this point right here, and it allows him to go backwards a little bit, forwards, and then tilt side to side, and then he rotates there. It's not the greatest because, of course, if they were going to give him any kind of true ab crunch or diaphragm cut, it would have to destroy his armor. So for aesthetics, I'm not too upset about it, but at the same time, he is a little bit locked down there. We've got legs that go out, not full splits, but pretty good for a Star Wars Black Series figure, I think. I'm happy with that. They kick forward about all the way. Not much on the back kick, though. There is a thigh cut. We've got single jointed knees. They are better than 90, so another instance of the single jointed pinless knees. They do rotate, but you've got to watch the knee mounted rockets here on the pads because they're going to kick, and they're going to kick them out. I don't know if they're going to get too stressed by that, but, you know, maybe just be aware. And then you've got rocker, and you've got really good hinges down at those ankles as well. When it comes to the jetpack, this is a piece that pegs onto the back. It's, I suppose, an accessory, but come on, it's Boba Fett. You've got swiveling thrusters back here as well. So you've got that when it comes to a little bit of added articulation on that front also. So yeah, he moves really well. Like, this is a huge difference from the first figure, and rightly so. This guy is so far removed from that original Boba Fett in terms of age that this is what we should expect to see. So while that older figure is very much a product of that era of Black Series, this figure is very much a product of the current era of Black Series. Aesthetically speaking, I am very happy with this figure. There are two things that I'm definitely going to have to touch on, though. There's one that I consider kind of a legit gripe with this figure, and then one that is going to be the problem, I suppose, that follows this figure as folks get it. So we'll start there because I don't know that it's actually a problem, but it's definitely something that I think a lot of folks are going to experience. The helmet. And normally I don't start at the heads or the helmets when I do this, but let's just get it out of the way. So first of all, I think the sculpt is really well done here. I think overall it looks really nice. The shape is nicely done. The paint is really well applied. All the scuffing, especially on the back, that metallic silver just really, really pops. I think it looks really nice. We've even got a moving rangefinder here, so I do like that. And it's just a really solid looking Boba Fett helmet. However, there is definitely an issue with the packaging of this figure, and we've seen this before because this is yet another figure that has a head underneath it. So I'm assuming it's a clone head by the way it looks, but there is a head underneath that. So the helmet is hollow, and the tray on this figure inside the box is super tight, which is really pinching the helmet. I did not apply any heat to my helmet after I got it out. All I've been doing so far is just pinching it from the front to the back just to make it flare out at the sides, and I'm pretty happy with the way it looks now. That said, I'm noticing a lot of folks are seeing this. It's definitely a thing where you're going to get this guy out of the package and there's possibly a chance that you're going to have like a squished helmet on one side or the other, or where it looks kind of skewed. So just be aware, you might need to heat it up with some hot water, but you might just be able to get away with squeezing it, pretty tightly, just squeeze it, and then you'll get it to sort of sit back the way it needs to, because this head does not want to be in the wrong shape. It wants to be in the correct shape, and it will easily sit there once you get it in place. So I think it looks good, but there's definitely a thing going on with it, and it's worth mentioning. The rest of the figure, though, I'm super happy with it. I think it looks fantastic, save for one little thing. And it's kind of the thing that I normally don't care about too much, and that's weathering and kind of a wash, because he has none on his pants, and he definitely should. There should be some dirt, a little bit of dinginess there, not tons, but there should be some. And he looks way too clean from the flight suit aspect of it. Personally speaking, it's not a huge thing, but I know it's going to be a talking point for folks when it comes to this figure. So he is really clean, but I'm not all that beat up about it. Just like the Figuarts isn't dirty either, and I don't care about that at all. It is sort of an odd thing to see with a Black Series, though. Otherwise, I know I've kind of complained unnecessarily a little bit. He looks really good. The battle damage and the wear and tear on the gauntlets is really nice. All that sort of silver dry brushing, all of that metallic paint that comes through it really catches your eye, and it's got a super bright shine. You've got the Mando Death's Head over here on the left side. You've got the Jaster Memorial sigil on the chest, which is super crisp. The tampo on that is really clean, very nicely done. Overall, though, just the sculpt here is really nice. I'm really happy with what I'm seeing. This is the one instance where I really wish that I had gotten the Mafex, Boba Fett's, because I'd love to be able to compare the two. But at this point, I don't think I need it anymore, so I'm not too hung up on it. But I'd love to be able to see a comparison. I just can't do that. The jetpack, while we obviously would consider it an accessory, is integral to the character and the look, so it's on him now, and it looks fantastic. There's a lot of wear and tear on it as well. You've got that kind of goofy yellow and blue color scheme that is definitely a departure from the first appearance for Boba Fett, well, at least in the movies. And then we've got the cape, which is definitely a difference this time around. So it's kind of tattered, but it's a plastic rubbery piece this time around instead of a fabric piece, which I'm okay with. I don't really care about that one little swath of fabric on the original figure. It's not a big deal. That looks really good and it hangs nicely. But this has really nice folds in it too. So as far as just the overall displayability, I think this looks really nice. It's maybe, a give or a take. You might prefer one over the other, and I'm kind of happy with either or. So I'm really, really much in love with this figure overall. It definitely isn't perfect. The head thing is still a thing, and I wish he had a little bit of grime on his pants, but this is a really solid ROTJ Boba Fett. It's a really nice entry in the line, and it's definitely, again, for the 15th time, a huge upgrade from that first figure. While that's obviously not Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, there's a lot that has been taken into consideration with what we see currently with Black Series to make this guy, I suppose, the best version of Boba that they could give us right now. So outside of a few little things that this guy has going on, it's a very, very nice looking figure. Now, as far as accessories goes, being a deluxe figure, this guy does get a decent bit of accessories, and I'm pretty happy with what he has here, for the most part. There's really only one thing here that I think is maybe more miss than hit, and it's something I was never going to probably use anyway, so not a big deal. To start with, we do, of course, have the jetpack, which we've already talked about, but again, it bears repeating, it is an accessory. It does have the removable missile, so the rockets, and it doesn't actually fire. You know, you've got to be safe for the kids out there, but it's cool that it does come out. We do have thruster effects, so they go in each of those, as I mentioned, movable thrusters, and there I go knocking one out, but they just peg in there. So you've got a couple of thruster effects, which are really nice. I'm happy with those. I do like what they did with the guns on this one, because he does get some options when it comes to the guns. So you've got his, you know, very memorable and very easily recognizable Boba Fett blaster. This looks fine, looks good. Sculpt is nice, kind of a brown dry brushing on it just to bring out some of the details on it. But they also give us this one, which is one that is being chopped in half by Luke. So you can see it's got some yellow-green paint on it, and it pegs together, and it's when Luke chops his gun in half. So I do like that. It's kind of cool. There is, however, a bit of a difference on this from what the original solicitation showed. And if I'm wrong here, someone let me know, but I never actually saw any product pictures for this guy. It was always those renders of what the actual figure looked like, but in artwork form. And this was actually red instead of, or red-orange instead of the greeny color here. So that is kind of a difference. Honestly, I don't care at all about that, but it's worth mentioning. It's still kind of a cool thing, though. It's a specific, memorable scene from Return of the Jedi, so I do like that. And then we get this, which is the thing that I find is to be a little bit more of a miss than a hit. We get his grappling hook. So this is obviously, you know, what he uses to tie up Luke briefly in the movie. So you've got the silver grapple here on the end. You've got a very short string, and I don't really think this is enough to tie up a figure in any capacity. Certainly not the way it ties up Luke in the movie. And then it's got this little hook here, and he fires this out of his right gauntlet. So this port right here is where it actually comes from. And this doesn't really go anywhere, though. Like, I have a hard time actually getting it to clasp onto anything. It'll sort of sit, not now, obviously, but it's not the greatest. And, you know, either I'm doing something wrong here, or I don't know. I just don't really care for this thing. I'm never going to use this, though. But it's also one of those things where it's different than what the imagery showed, because the image on all the listings, like if you go to Hasbro Pulse's product page for this, it just shows a cord coming straight out of this port. Not anything like a clip or anything, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't even shown in the box art either. So that's kind of a weird little oddity. I'm not a big fan of it, but again, for me personally, I wasn't going to use it anyway. Beyond that, though, we do get the flamethrower effect, which does peg on to the wrist here. So you pop that guy, well, you pop this guy on like this. There we go. And then you've got the flamethrower effect, which of course is perfect for a Boba Fett, and I'm really happy that we got this. It's obviously something that he should have. It's a very iconic thing from his power set, well, his weapon set, and I'm pleased that he does come with that. The one thing that I kind of wish could have happened, just to be able to do it, I know it's not necessarily something that he has to have, I really wish he had a blaster effect for the gun. And at the same time, I really wish that it was just one of these thruster effects that could have had a smaller peg and could have pegged into the tip of the gun. I've got a bunch of things I can use for that, just to, you know, set a scene or have a display on my shelf, but to be able to do that instead of having both thruster effects, because I'm probably not going to display them personally with these thruster effects in. I'd rather be able to repurpose one and just peg it into the tip of the gun, but that's unfortunately not possible. So he does come with a lot of stuff. Again, I'm not a big fan of this. I don't think it's all that well implemented, but otherwise he comes with a pretty solid array of accessories. The jetpack is really well done, thruster effects, you've got the flamethrower effect, and then you've got two different guns for different instances. So he definitely does have a deluxe set of accessories for sure. Of course, we have to do a comparison because, I mean, obviously someone would throw a fit if I didn't. So we've got our original Black Series here on the right, our new one on the left, and there's a lot to compare, obviously, but there's also not a lot to compare because they're different versions of the same character. So it's an apples to oranges thing when it comes to aesthetics, but construction-wise, they are so different. And obviously, they're gonna fill two different spots on your shelf. This is your Empire. This is your Return of the Jedi. And it's nice to have a differentiated look now. It's nice to not have to use this Boba Fett if you want to throw one in Jabba's palace because he doesn't look like this. So there's that. But you've also got a lot of difference just when it comes to overall construction. You know, this guy has a ball hinge neck. He's got two different arms. This one has a bicep cut. This one doesn't. Things like that. You've got double jointed knees on the first figure that we don't have anymore in the Black Series on new construction figures. But overall, the articulation on this new guy is so much better. He just moves more fluidly is the best way to say it. And I think he looks a little bit cleaner. Not in the sense that he is a little bit cleaner on the legs, but he just looks nicer and a little bit more fresh, which obviously makes more sense considering he is a newer figure. but I think you get what I'm saying. So there is a lot to like about this figure still visually. He does move a little wonky at times, but this figure served its purpose for a very long time, and I'm really happy to have this guy to fill the ROTJ void when it comes to Black Series. And then, like I mentioned, real quick, there is a little bit of a lack of kind of grime on the new figure. So his pants are super clean. I kind of wish they had at least what this one had, where he's got a little bit of dirt, a little bit of scuffing here and there. It would just help to bring out the sculpt a little bit. I'm sure somebody's going to do a little bit of a black wash on it, or maybe a brown wash or something, just to bring it out. But I'm curious to see what that would look like, because I think it does. I think it does need to happen on this figure. But otherwise, he's a very solid looking figure. And then, I mean, because why not? Here's a couple other Bobas. So there's the San Diego one. Is that what that is? It's not a Celebration. I don't remember anymore. And here's the prototype one. And I thought I had the carbonized one open, but apparently I never opened a carbonized Boba Fett, so I don't have one of those right now. Maybe I'll get to that here shortly. But you can see there is, a lot going on when it comes to the realm of Boba Fett's. I still to this day think this is probably my favorite look for Boba Fett, just because it's so clean and crisp. But this is such a good figure. Construction-wise, it's a night and day difference. And then, of course, he fills a very specific spot that has been missing for a very long time. Beyond that, what we can do, though, is compare to the Figuarts, because the Figuarts is a Return of the Jedi figure. And I mean, there is, again, a lot different between these two. I do think that the Star Wars Black Series is a little bit more accurate in a number of ways, because of the fact, and this is one of the things that I didn't really harp on the Figuarts for, it's that this one is, grittier and grimier when it comes to the armor. The armor is not nearly as clean on our Star Wars Black Series as it is on the Figuarts, and that's the Figuarts aesthetic. And I know that's a lot of the problem a lot of people had with this one, is that he was way too clean. But in the confines of Figuarts, I was fine with it, because that's how the entire line looks. This guy, though, has all of that weathering on the armor to bring out a lot more of that battle damage that Boba does in fact have. So like on the back here, there is no wear and tear on that jetpack compared to what we have on the Black Series. There's tons of scuffing and all that silver dry brushing on there. So there's a lot different between the two. Your mileage may vary on which one you truly prefer. I still love the Figuarts, though. It does something for me. I just love that look. But this is a very nice looking Boba Fett. Again, I still kind of wish he had a little schmutz on his pants down there, but otherwise a very solid looking ROTJ figure. So yeah, this is a really, really solid entry. I feel like this guy honestly could have just been a regular entry figure without having all this extra stuff, and I'd still be just as happy with it. If he just came with a gun, I'd probably be over the moon with it anyway. But because they did give him the deluxe treatment, we do get a lot of extra stuff, and for the most part, I think it's all really good stuff. You get the jetpack, which of course is required anyway, but you get the thruster effects, you get the two versions of the gun, we get the flamethrower effect, and even though I'm not a big fan of how it's implemented, or even if I'm ever going to use it, the grappling hook, we get a lot of stuff here. There is a number of options that are very specific to Boba's scenes in Return of the Jedi that I think a lot of folks are going to be able to take advantage of. He moves really, really well. He has all of that updated articulation that we come to expect with the line. He looks fantastic. And again, the only two things that I think are even at odds with this figure are that he could maybe use a little bit of a wash on that flight suit, and then the helmet squishiness issue is going to be a thing that people are going to see, but I do think you can easily remedy it without hardly any fuss, honestly. So yeah, I'm very happy with this one, and he is going to make a prominent entry on my display for sure. So that's going to do it for this look at the Deluxe Black Series Boba Fett. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.